Was most obvious here was the government thought this was going to be a very simple way to raise taxes, get extra money into the government. But when they saw the line of events, and the telling part was the actual amount of money the government had to pay out in unemployment benefits, that really wound up hurting the industry. What we really didn't get into was were the lost jobs and companies that never came back. Viking was fortunate. Their owners decided to fight, and they had the money to last 3 years in a very bad situation and come out of it. But there were many small boat builders just in New Jersey alone and up and down the East Coast that weren't able to hold on. So the ripple effect, as they refer to, it's some of these short-sighted decisions where somebody in Washington says, oh, this is a brilliant idea, and everybody around them says, yeah, it's great, let's get this extra money in, but they don't realize what the impact was. And it was, like they said, the people that can afford these boats, they just stopped buying them. They didn't get hurt by the tax at all. But it was the 1,400 employees that got laid off. That were the end result of it.
How are you using this film as a tool for this campaign or this injustice that the government, I mean, it seems like there should be a system where, okay, there's an accountant saying we're not making money off of this. In fact, we're starting to lose, so this needs to be readjusted. That doesn't make sense, you know, and that's probably why we're in this economic situation that we are, a lot of bad judgment. So how are you using this film as a tool for what we're facing now?
Both me and Bob, we both own our own small businesses, and our personal interest in this movie was to bring to light a lot of useless taxes that are out there that don't allow both him and me to hire more people because we're held down constantly by paying a lot of these taxes ourselves. If we had the money to spend to hire people, there'd be more jobs in the community to help out.
So we're looking to gain exposure through festivals. We've been in contact with some of the state legislators in regard to showing them the film, some of the people that were involved. And we've even sent copies of this to Lou Dobbs at CNBC and some of what we consider talking heads in the industry that talk about the economy on TV. So like anything else, it's a struggle to get it out there, but we're just trying to knock on doors and get as many people involved in seeing this so that we can help bring this to light to bigger and bigger audiences.
How did you get involved in this project?
Actually, Viking is one of my customers. I sell manufacturing equipment, so I have a small sales company. And I met the owners when they were looking to purchase some equipment from me and got to know them and got to know their story. And as a small business owner myself, I was enamored with the fact that they were faced at a point in their lives where they were financially secure. Both of the brothers were millionaires at the time. Their families were set up. They didn't even have to worry about their children's generation with finances. But they decided to save their company, and so helping save their company, they helped the industry and have been rewarded within the boating community. Many of the meetings and events in the boating industry recognize the work that the Healy brothers did, but I found that no one outside the industry really realized what they fought for and how they went about fighting. So I thought it was important once I heard the story, and I approached them and I asked them if we could do a documentary on what they went through. And they opened up their doors and they said whatever we needed. So they were very open to us going in there and helping them present their story.
I guess you never really realized that people such as the Healy family are wealthy, that something like this could affect them, or that they would care about their employees enough to say, I want to fight.
Right, and it came out here, and it was quick, but basically what the Healys did was they liquidated their 401 plan. They put their own personal money back into the business to sustain as many employees as they could while they fought those 3 years. So you don't say you can't fight City Hall, and they put their money where their mouth was. They stood up for what they felt was right, and they did everything they could, bringing employees down to Washington DC, to Trenton, and just to get as much notoriety as they could to show how absurd this tax was and how it was hurting the whole industry.
Are they starting to face the same situation again with the economy again?
Actually, they are. Not so much in light of what went on this time, but just the fact that money's tight right now. So they're slumping right now in their sales.
Also, the price of the fuel to run the boats also is having a big impact on the people who want to buy them.
Yeah, you can imagine a yacht of 82 feet has maybe 2,600 gallon gas tank, and with diesel fuel being about 4 or 5 something at one point. You know, actually the whole, being from New Jersey, we have a small fishing community. It's a lot of recreational fishing, small commercial fishing. That whole industry's been depressed because of the gas prices and the economy too. So, there are these other avenues that were impacted greatly by the economy of today. The yachting industry in general in the United States was extremely healthy. So it caught them totally off guard. And the first quarter after it was installed, after January 1990, their sales fell off. And like Jerry, the finance guy said, he had to go to his creditors and say, we didn't prepare for this because we didn't know it was coming. So we could not be in any way put extra money aside for this event. This just happened. And what Bob Healy said was, this was not a bill that was debated in the normal routine that bills were debated at the time. Congress went off-site. They went out of Washington. They went to Andrews Air Force Base. So there was no hearings. There were no public hearings. So not only the industry, but the citizenry weren't aware of what that bill was going to entail. And they basically, in one weekend, hammered this out almost under the cover of darkness. So the boating industry in general was totally caught off guard when this tax was implemented.
Do they talk now? Do they have a lobby firm or anything like that they deal with now just to kind of keep abreast and stay abreast of so this doesn't happen to them again?
They have eyes and ears in Washington, but it's still a very difficult. It's hard to still legislate, because when it comes to taxes and it comes to the area where it seems like, these are the people that are going to be buying, they have the money, so, what's a little more for them to kick in? It's hard for them to garner any input into a lot of that legislation.
I mean, it seems like just having a business where you're producing luxury items, you do have those fat years and those thin years that you have to deal with. I mean, when it's good, and when it's bad, it can be really bad because right away people start cutting off things like that.
Absolutely.
That's what's going on right now.
Yeah. So instead of people turning their yachts over every 2 years and buying a new one, they're, put a little extra money in to keep it going for another year or two and ride out the bad economy.
So this industry rides it off with it. They're used to having this.
They've had ups and downs. Yeah, they had ups and downs in the past, but this was the worst. This was the worst situation because it actually caused companies to shut their doors. There's slow periods where you can lay people off, constrict. This devastated companies. And the boating industry in general is, at the price ticket that these are, they only build about 100 to 120 in a good year. Now, when you get down to the smaller, like the ski-doos and the personal watercrafts, there's a lot more volume there, but they were so low in price that they weren't impacted. So it didn't hurt their manufacturing. It was only the bigger guys. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.